Good evening, all. I wanted to go ahead and hop on and decided to make a video because we're going to do a little bit of talk to your tech video montage. We are taking our camper officially camping for the first time this weekend since we've owned it. We are kind of doing not really a trial run, but I am opening it up, taking inventory of everything. Luckily, the people we bought this from, they very kindly left a lot of things for us. So I was kind of taking inventory on what I needed to pack. While we were opening it up, we live in Florida, so that awesome rain right there just downpoured. So we had to quickly, we were going to close the pop-up up because it wasn't quite ready to be open for the rain, but then the canvas started getting really wet, and if we had closed it all up, then the beds would get wet. So we decided just to open it and let the rain hit it, and we're kind of glad that we did because we ran into an issue that got missed per se. Sometimes you don't know the issues until it rains and until you can see water coming in. So as we were inside, we noticed a pretty good steady leak that was coming from our vents inside, and it was dripping straight down onto the cabinet. So again, you'd be surprised how many calls we get from customers that they don't realize there's an issue until they're at the campsite. And once you're there, you don't have your garage and your tools kind of readily available. So I definitely suggest opening it up, taking inventory, making sure everything looks good, runs good before you actually go camping. So we are going to have to address that issue before we take it out this weekend, as well as there's a couple of other things, maintenance issues on the RV that Chad wants to address before we take it. So this video, we're going to be doing a couple of maintenance things to our specific RV, but this is also universal for anybody's RV. So if you want a little how-to video, I'm going to be asking Chad the questions of a beginner RV owner because I have no idea. So sometimes it's good for me and my perspective to ask Chad, because sometimes he knows everything and he thinks that everybody else knows everything and we don't. So we're going to need to address this leak, which is on the roof. Chad's going to have to do some resealing. We also have not maintenanced this AC, so we're going to be doing a full AC cleaning on a deep how-to on the outside portion, the inside filters, everything. Our specific unit has a little bit of some vinyl insert that is missing, so we're going to be replacing that vinyl insert, putting that back on. I think Chad also wanted to address a couple of exterior silicone issues, kind of here and there spot seal, so I know he's going to do some of that silicone. That's all I can think off the top of my head. We'll see now post this rain if anything else possibly came up. We're also going to be getting it ready. I've packed up paper towels, all that kind of stuff. We need to disconnect our propane tanks and make sure those are nice and filled before we go on our trip so that we have propane to be able to run everything. That was another thing. We also have to do the water heater on this. This water heater was never maintenance, as well as I think Chad also wanted to change the anode rod. So we're going to be doing those as well. So hopefully all of that will be on this video for everybody to see. Like I said, this is specific to RV on things that need to get done, but this is also just general maintenance for pretty much anybody's RV. So whether you want to continue to do your own maintenance, which RVs are just continuous maintenance, that as long as you stay on top of maintenance, it's pretty self-sustainable. Otherwise, once you start getting behind on maintenance and you let water start coming in, AC's going bad, that's when the small things become the big costly things. So we're going to take you along, and I'm going to pick Chad's brain for everybody and ask all the good questions. So let's go. So I know it's a little dark in here, so hopefully you guys will be able to see. As we were opening it up, this is where we found the leak, so I quickly grabbed a bowl. This is our culprit. So this is one of the vents, and it is leaking. I don't know if you're still going to be able to see it. It was leaking all from this corner right here. It was like water was literally just dripping a pretty good amount. I don't know if you can still see any water droplets. The ceiling is a little bit wet still. So it was leaking all from this corner as it was actively raining. So sometimes you won't be able to see leaks unless it's actively raining, which I know Chad and our technicians, sometimes they have a hard time. We get customers that say, hey, I have a leak, but when we come out, it's, sunny, 90 degrees, and it's hard to replicate a leak. So we have gone as far as they will prop up a ladder and get a water hose and spray it on people's RVs to essentially recreate rain so that you can find spots like that. They would have absolutely no idea if this is an internal leak on this fan and external, is it on the top, is it on the bottom? They would not know. So that's why I said it was kind of annoying that it rained on us as we were getting this ready, but it was also kind of a good thing because now we've spotted this, we know where it is. Chad was immediately able to grab a ladder, go check out the roof, and he saw where the gap is so that we know where to be able to seal. So when we're out on our camping trip, if it rains, which most likely it will because we're in Florida and we're just doing a camping trip here in Florida. So once it rains and we're out there, we won't be freaking out that we don't have any caulk. We're not laying down towels and bowls and trying to make sure that it doesn't soak into all the particle board, which is pretty much what RVs are made of. Welcome. We're back on a different day that it's not raining. We have to get everything done today because we leave for our trip tomorrow. So, I have the one and only here with us, and we're gonna go step by step, picking his brain on what we're doing. So, Chad, what are we starting with first?
Good afternoon. First things first, this roof vent. So, like Mandy said the other day, we had it set up, she was cleaning and stuff, and it started to rain on us. So it was a good opportunity that we were inside to see how it stood up to the rain. And sure enough, this vent started a consistent drip. So we got it all set up, had to wait for that to stop. Threw our cover back on it, closed it up. Now we got a sunny day, we got some time to get to it, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it resealed. So essentially, what you typically find on an RV roof is self-leveling die-core. That's typically a rubber roof with all the moldings. This is a fiberglass roof because it's a pop-up, so it's a little bit different. So you can use something like what's on here now, which is more of a silicone-based type product. However, right here on this corner is where we have some separation. I would just be more comfortable with some die-core, so what I'm going to do is all this black sealant that's all the way around the perimeter. I'm going to go ahead and scrape this off, I'm going to clean it up, and then I'm going to put some self-leveling die-core around it, just so it doesn't leak on us anymore. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. We'll talk about some other spots that need maintenance, sealant done. As far as I know, it's not leaking, but it's something I want corrected. That's the thing with RVs. It's preventative maintenance. You do it before things happen, and that's how you keep them in good condition. If you're just reactive, you're never going to catch up once it starts rolling. So that's some of the stuff that we got to do off the top of my head. These moldings on each side that run the length of the RV, they need vinyl inserts in them. They were cracked, falling apart. It's not any waterproofing, but it does help deflect water. So that's one thing I'm going to do. The anode rod and the water heater needs to be replaced. We'll end up doing that. But first things first, we need to make sure it stops leaking. So I'm going to get to scraping at this guy.
As you are going to scrape that, I'm going to ask you some questions. What is the difference between a die-core roof self-leveling sealant and like the silicone and other sealants that you use? Why are you deciding to change that?
I'll answer that in a second, but this is a prime example of why I want to use the die-core product, because I just started that and pulled this whole thing off. So that's not doing very good. You don't want that to happen.
That's not supposed to happen.
I mean, it's, like I said, it's a silicone-based thing, but we can see right here, now that I got it off, this corner is kind of where the water was going in. So I mean, it's nice that it came off like that. I didn't have to scrape it like I thought I was going to have to, so that's good.
But it should not come off like that.
No, because that, I mean, it's, you want it to stick. You want it to be bonded. You want water to be able to pool on top of it, and it's not going to leak. So that's kind of the idea. So anyways, to answer your question, there's really two different sealants that you use. Thank you. On most RVs, you have the sealant you use on the roof, and then you have the sealant that you use on the sidewalls. 99% of the time on the roofs, you have, most of the time it's a Dicor product, self-leveling sealant. That's going to go around all of your roof penetrations, the roof vents, your plumbing vents, skylights, if you have solar up there, any of those wire penetrations or brackets mounted, all that's going to use that self-leveling sealant. Everything on the sidewall is going to be silicone. There's always a debate on what the best is. I did dealerships for a long time. Every dealership I went to had their own preference based on whatever deals they got from their vendors on what they use. So I got to use a bunch of stuff. Right now we use Boss. I like the way that stuff works. It stays a little bit flexible. It's easy to apply, easy to clean up. I know a lot of people like ProFlex, but the biggest thing, especially here in South Florida, that we're doing right now in the summertime, it rains every day. We're getting a lot of calls for water leaks. So we get there and we see the roof and that sealant is just cracked all to pieces. So a lot of times we'll have to do a clean and overlay on that. If it's minor enough, we can just clean little spots and then spot seal it as needed. But if it's really bad, then we just have to overlay all of it. If it gets even worse than that, where it's just never been touched and it's brittle to the touch, at that point it's worth scraping it all off and redoing it from scratch. But for the most part, you can clean it up and just overlay it. Silicone, same thing on the outside. It's like painting. Prep work is important, so you have to scrape off all the old stuff. If it's got algae or mildew or dirt or dust, you got to get all that stuff off, clean it. That way when you apply the new silicone, it's going to stick and it's actually not going to peel off like what just happened here. So
On a normal basis, on a regular use, when RVs sitting out in the sun day to day, how often are you recommending people to check their Dicor roof sealant?
At least,
Update that, make sure it's looking good.
at least minimum every 6 months. If you're sitting out in the sun, especially here in Florida, if it were me, I'd be looking at my roof every 3 months. The worst thing you want to do is let a leak on your roof because of a little tiny pinhole go unnoticed, and then now you've had water seeping in that you don't realize until it's done damage. And that's the problem, is once you see the damage, it's been there for a while. A little bit of maintenance checks here and there more often could have prevented it, which means less money out of your pocket for repairs. This is what we're going to use. This is the Dicor Products Lap Sealant. You always see the bald guy on there. That's how you know what you're using. So we're using the white, self-leveling, so that's what we're going to throw up there.
Next question. You said self-leveling. Is there a difference? What are the two different kinds?
Yeah, so there's self-leveling and then non-sag.
For Dicor roof sealants.
For the Dicor roof sealants.
What is the difference?
Self-leveling, you're going to put around all your roof penetrations on top, and then the non-sag is typically used on the gutter rails that are on each side that run the length of the RV because it's down on the sidewall. So as you apply that bead, you don't want that self-leveling dripping off. It's going to behave more like silicone, but it's still the correct product to use.
So this self-leveling that you're applying, should you use your finger to flatten this out? Should you use a paintbrush? Should you use a roller?
No, don't use anything. It's self-leveling. Apply a decent bead. I can't tell you how many times I've seen videos online of brushes being used once it's put on to spread it out. It is self-leveling. Put it on liberally. Let it do its job. Let it self-level. You spread it out thin enough with the paintbrush, what's the point of even doing it? So
the more the better, you would recommend?
Yes and no. I mean, you don't need to go crazy with it, but yeah, I mean, as long as you cover up all the edges, then you'll be good. So the way I like to do it is, especially on something like this, I'll do my first bead all the way around the edge, just so that I know that edge is done, and then I'll do another bead right on top of it, so that as it self-levels, half of it goes onto the sealant I just applied, and the other half goes onto the base of the equipment that we're trying to seal. So, I mean, that's it. You don't need a lot. We got about that much left. It was basically one tube for this one, which is easy enough. If we're doing an overlay on an existing roof that already has Dicor, probably going to use at least 2 tubes per vent, just because we have more surface area that we need to cover up. But that's that. That should take care of that leak. So next thing I'm going to do, just because it's real quick, is put this vinyl insert in.
Roof leak is done. Vent is now sealed up. Next is going to be the vinyl insert. Chad, let's talk about vinyl insert. What is it? Why do you use it? Is it necessary?
So I don't think, let's go look on this side. Maybe we'll find one that's still somewhat intact. So here we go. Here's an example. On the front cap, this molding, this corner molding, is screwed in here. And this is a vinyl insert that covers up those screws. So you can pull it out and you can see the screws behind it. So the vinyl insert doesn't necessarily provide waterproofing because it just snaps into a channel, but it helps deflect the water off of it. These things get chewed up by the sun, they deteriorate, and they split in the middle because it just uses pressure to wedge inside of a channel on each side. So we're forever having to replace these, and here we are. I'm having to replace them on my own. So
this is the one that we're going to be replacing. You can see a remnant.
That's a little piece of it here that went around the back. So
what is the potential damage of leaving these screws just exposed?
So
if it's just like this, what damage could this cause, if any?
So like I said, it's not waterproofing, but it helps shed the water away from it. You just want to eliminate any possible option that water can get inside. And one of the ways that it can get inside is a screw that has worked its way out. Behind all of these moldings, they use what's called butyl tape. It's about 1 inch wide like this. It's gray and it's sticky. So when they screw it on, it kind of oozes and seals it. But if you have a screw going into that and that screw backs out, then you just have a spiral of an entry point for water. So anything that you can deter water from getting into it is why you want to do it. So we're going to go ahead and put that on.
So our particular one is going to run pretty much from the top, beginning of the RV to the very end. The entire length is what is missing, and that Chad will be installing. Chad, as far as the vinyl insert, will any vinyl insert work? Do we need to buy a special one? What are customers necessarily looking for when purchasing a vinyl insert?
So 90% of the time, this is the vinyl insert that you want. It's 1 inch wide. You can see that there's a little wave to the edge of it. You bend it like this to put it in place, and I'll show you how you can zip it in. It's a little trick. You get one of these non-marring tools.
Because I specifically do all the parts orders for us. This comes in multiple sizes, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way up to 100 feet. So depending on the length that you're going is the length that you're going to buy. Chad, if somebody has 40 feet that they need to replace, what is going to be the difference if they just were to maybe get 2 20s versus 140? Is it better to get one long strip? Or can it have cuts?
It can't really have cuts just because of how you put it in. It's possible to do, but it's not recommended. Like I said, the whole point is preventing water intrusion. So if you can do one singular piece, that's going to be better than having a spot that's seamed together.
So if you have a 40-foot trailer, get a 40-foot vinyl insert length.
Correct.
Like I said, it goes all the way up to 100 feet of what we can order, so I don't think I've seen RVs longer than 100 feet.
No, no, I don't think so. So this particular one, the way they had it, and it works out well, is you can tuck a portion of it behind the molding and then wrap it around the corner. That way it stays secured. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. If you don't wanna pull screws out and pull your molding off and stuff, you can just put it in here and then seal up the end really good. Same there, but this is just a little more foolproof way to do it. So I'm gonna shove that in there. That way when I wrap it around, I can get it started in the channel. And it'll kind of hold itself where it needs to.
Excuse me, sir, your hand is kind of in the way.
Yeah, sorry, give me a second. Once you get it started, it's pretty easy from there. So the way I like to do it, stretch out about shoulder width, go ahead and line the bottom up in the bottom channel, and then you can kind of hold tension on it, and you just take a little scraper or something, and you just run your hand down the edge, and it zips it into place just like that. And so now all those screws are covered, and you just keep doing that all the way down. Tell you what, this is really hot. It's been sitting in the sun, it's black, it's midday. It's really hot to the touch.
But we also have to work against the rain in South Florida. We're in our rainy season.
True that.
Summertime, guaranteed to rain about 2 or 3 o'clock. We gotta take the sun and heat while we get it.
I didn't put that screw back in. So let's take this off and try again. That would have been a problem. Because like I said,
Why would that have been a problem?
this isn't waterproofing. But I just left an open hole there with the screw, and that would have been a problem. So I'm glad I remembered.
Didn't we just have a customer that has a rotten floor cover?
That's very true. It's one of those things. It's with water leaks, you don't see them.
Not that we did, by the way.
No,
The dealership.
it was
when
when it was built.
When it was built. Not that we put the vinyl insert and we forgot the screw. That was not us.
No. Yeah, I mean,
we would not do that, right?
No, absolutely not. It's those things called small leaks that you don't notice until it's too late. I mean, a little bit of water coming in when it rains through a screw hole isn't going to cause a flooded floor, but it's going to get some things wet, and you're not going to notice until down the road those things have gotten rotten from being wet, drying off, being wet, drying off, being wet, drying off, and then eventually you step on the floor and your foot goes through it. So maintenance.
So something as small as screws will allow enough water to come in to create damage to the floor.
Water finds a way. It finds a way. I'll grab my knife. When you put this on, it's rubber. It's got a little elasticity to it, just a little bit. You don't need to pull it tight. It's going to shrink and expand. Just a little bit of tension. But as you come to the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little extra hanging off the edge from where I'm going to stop. That way I can tuck it behind, and that's kind of the tricky part when you come to the end.
So you're leaving extra because you're allowing for shrinkage?
Because it's more secure at the edges versus if I were to cut it flush at the end, what I'm running the risk of is the sealant cracking, and then now this just has the opportunity to blow off. If I wrap it all the way around and tuck it behind it and screw it in, it's just more secure that way. This is kind of the tricky part because you kind of have to do it backwards. So what we're going to do is zip it in as far as we can go without covering our screw, so that we remember to put the screw back in. I'm going to go ahead and put the molding behind it. You know, I may have to see if I can't get the old molding out first. Someone should trim this palm tree.
Well, not that way.
Of course. And then, being that I'm doing it like this, it's kind of breaking the sealant up top, so I'm gonna have to redo that on the front and on the back. But I really want to get this old bit out of here. And like I said, it's a little stretchy, so we'll get it best we can there. Go ahead and get our screw back in. And then before we do the middle, since we have room, we got to work this corner in so that it holds where it's supposed to. Okay, so we got that worked. Can zip that in place. Give that a little push to the inside, last little bit. And then even if you do wrap it around, it's always best. Anything that attaches, this attaches to this, go ahead and seal it up. This attaches to this, go ahead and seal that up. Sealant, sealant, sealant.
And you're using the die-core sealant
I'm gonna,
on that?
yeah, I'm gonna use the
same one
die-core.
we used for the vent?
Correct. So eventually that's another thing, because on here they once again used this silicone stuff that seems to be okay in certain spots, but
Not your recommendation?
not what I would prefer. So I'm gonna go ahead and redo that, and then you can see if you come over here, some of this stuff is already flaking off. Yeah, careful, that's hot. Just from being in the sun. So it's under a cover. We keep it under a cover, but that's something that we'll end up scraping off and resealing as well.
So it's inevitable, if you own an RV, you got to get on the roof.
Pretty much. Or hire somebody, us. We'll get up there and check it out for you.
But we're just lucky that we have a pop-up
Yeah.
in the down position.
Exactly.
So you can stand on the floor.
Exactly. But here, so here's where the two sealants meet. So here on the edge, on this black part, and all of this, I'm going to use silicone. Here on top, on the roof, I'm going to use the self-leveling. If I use self-leveling on the side, it's just going to droop all the way down, and it's going to look messy, and I might not get the seal that I'm wanting. So I'm going to make sure that this is cleaned off, and then I'm going to end up putting some silicone right here.
What do you run a risk if you don't clean off the old stuff and you see people just slapping on silicone on top of the old silicone?
It doesn't stick. What'll happen is it'll start flaking off. So it's always best to clean it best you can.
That's a wrap on the vinyl insert. Vinyl insert done?
Done. Some silicone and that's it. It's self-leveling on the area that I was prying on. Just want to make sure that we get it sealed back up. And then, like I said, I'm gonna go grab some silicone for the side. A nice gentle touch. You don't need to mush it. You don't need to overdo it. You can use a little bit of soap and water, spray it on your finger, and then when you do it, you don't get silicone on your finger, but I don't mind. I'll just go wipe it off. So go do the same thing over here on the front. So that covers that. I'm gonna go check the other side. If the other side needs to be done, exact same thing.
So, just for my own knowledge, like this is all, you can see it cracking.
Yep.
So would you say to replace that if it's cracking? Like you can see it, the crack? New SD card in. Alright, back to our question of the day. Did that vinyl insert need to be replaced?
Preference of the user. It's something that I definitely want to replace. You can kind of scratch it. The cracks are just barely surface cracks. So just because it's hot and I'm already doing a bunch of other stuff, it's not detrimental. I'm going to leave it. I'll do it next time when I come out and I have some more time. I'm doing roof stuff. So, but for now, for the most part, it's pretty good. There's a couple little cracks on the front, but other than that, it should hold up just fine. But next thing I'm going to do, being that I already have silicone out, is kind of give it a once over, because there was a few spots, for instance, over here on these front cap moldings we were talking about earlier. If I push in, you can see the gap in the silicone. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe these off and put some new silicone. There's different options, especially the way we quote things. It's why we do service calls to come out to look at RVs, because everyone requires different needs. For example, the silicone on here, it's pretty minimal. So there's nothing really for me to scrape off. So what I am gonna do is, we like to use this Kent Automotive Acrosol. It's aerosol can, it's easy, it dries fast, and it does a good job of wiping dirt, dust, any grime that's on it. That way when we do apply a new bead of silicone, it's gonna stick well. So I'm gonna go around with a box of rags, some Acrosol, wipe all those affected areas and just re-silicone them, so we know everything's nice and watertight.
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath. Same thing down here at the bottom. Just little cracks everywhere. It's just, got to get it before it starts leaking. So we're going to go ahead and do a lot. So we're not really trying to remove old silicone, at least not in this particular instance, because it's so thin already. We're just trying to make sure that it's clean. There's no dust, there's no dirt. There's nothing wrong with sticking new silicone to the old silicone, as long as it's a small amount and it's cleaned. A lot of times when we come out on a service call to quote that stuff, that's what we have to look at. If it's been done before, or just from the manufacturer, they put a lot of silicone on there, sometimes we are going to have to scrape it off. ProFlex is a big one. If they did use ProFlex, that stuff kind of turns into hard rubber, so we definitely have to scrape that stuff off. So, but you can see on here, this is just all the dirt that we got to get off. That way we make sure it sticks good. While I'm at it, I'm gonna do all of it. Tail lights, anything that's got sealant. We're gonna touch it up. Compartment doors, if you don't see any sealant, it's because most likely there's a foam gasket behind the frame and it's screwed in on the inside, and that foam gasket's gonna do the job. You can put silicone on it. It's not gonna hurt anything. It's just something that you're also gonna have to keep up with. But if compartment doors and stuff do leak, a lot of times changing the foam gasket will do it. Found another hole right here. This is why you do this and why you do your maintenance checks, because who knows how long it's been like this. Luckily, the people we bought it from, they kept a cover on it. We've kept a cover on it. But this is our LED light, and this is where the wires are coming out. And you can very clearly see that there's a gap and there's a hole that is not sealed. So if we left this open, luckily the awning and everything's kind of above it, but water finds a way. So it's good that we're doing this. We see that. We make sure we get that sealed up. Welcome to my day-to-day. True that.
So we're done spraying the Acrosol.
We're done spraying the Acrosol. Now it's time for silicone. I like the Boss products for the silicone, mainly because silicone is genuinely like an art. I can't tell you how many times customers say that they've been doing maintenance and then we have to go do maintenance, and it is a blob of a mess. It looks terrible, and it doesn't stick, and it peels right off, and it's not the right product, because I'm not sure what they bought at Home Depot. But this is what we use, Boss products. And the tip comes pre-cut. So there's tricks to the trade, small tips, don't use a lot of silicone, how you apply it, all that stuff. So this is a brand new one. I leave the tip already like that because it's already cut. All you have to do is open it up here. Don't cut yourself. And then you're good to go. Grab that. Like I said, I see tons and tons of people who apply the silicone and spray soapy water and popsicle sticks and all that stuff. You know, household silicone is different than RV silicone. I don't mind getting my finger dirty, so I'll just mush it with my finger. I just grab a towel with me. So I will just start with one side. I'll probably just start here, work my way all the way down, come back and check that I got everything else. So it's just check, double check. It took me a long time to get good at making this stuff look pretty.
So that's it. One nice solid bead.
One nice solid bead.
Already too long for me.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to record me doing all of it.
What?
You don't need to record me doing all of it.
No, I mean, like, this would be too much for me to do. Like,
I'm not even done with half.
5 minutes, and I would already be like, I'm done with this. And we have a small one.
That's how I feel about admin work.
Oh my god. Chad, this is miserable. Why don't you do this?
What do you mean? Hot, sweaty, in the sun, sweat in your eyes, doing silicone over and over?
I would hire you, but I don't have to hire you.
That's true.
I just had to marry you to get the free labor.
Yeah. I just had to marry you to get the free administration work.
Trade-offs.
Yeah.
50-50.
You got it.
So makes marriages work.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a sweep back around, make sure I got everything covered. A lot of times when you do things like this light or marker lights, you do what's called an eyebrow. So essentially you just do the two lowest points on the side and then you do the top.
Why? Why can't I just do the whole thing?
You can, it's just not needed. You don't have to. Once you apply silicone, you have to keep up with silicone. Same reason why if you don't need silicone around your compartment doors, you don't have to put silicone.